right. Welcome back. Hello. Hello. Welcome to the show. This is the Reason Why podcast. This is your girl Reinvented. I'm here with my homie Camille. We are here discussing um one, hurt people. Um, and we'll be discussing the Wendy Williams story and part two, basically. We did have a discussion a couple of days ago. So what we're going to do here is follow up on that discussion and then shine light on some or unpack some new information um, and some new information that we have from last week. So also, we do have one and possibly two other people that may be joining us this evening. So just in case somebody pop in, I don't want y'all to, be too alarmed. All right. So welcome, welcome. All right. So now, Camille. So last week, or when was that? That was Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So we were discussing basically her childhood traumas, how her childhood traumas, manifest in her adult life because, hurt people.
Right.
And people only really see her as, messy Wendy, you know what I mean? And not realizing, the backstory end of it all. People like to judge and point fingers and oh this and she was this, but then when you actually unpack and look drill deeper into her life story, you'll find out that there was lots of issues and unresolved issues that started back from her past. For one, it was so like she was in special education. Like, the short bus that people, talk, laugh about and stuff like that. Wendy was in special ed her whole like schooling. On top of the special education, um she wet the bed. She basically peed in the bed until she was 12 years old. So those two things alone, I mean, as a parent, I would definitely go and get my child evaluated. She was struggling with areas of weight, and her weight. She was heavy set and she was tall. So she had a lot of self-esteem issues that just surrounded around her weight. Her parents picked on her, teased her, put her on all these diets. I mean, it was a tuna diet. It was a no carb diet. It was a, get on the scale every day or once a week kind of thing. I mean, I just can't imagine that kind of stuff. I mean, how, yeah, I mean, in your mind, you're not good enough. You're not, you're not worthy. Her mother even went as far as to tell her that the reason why she was wetting the bed up until she was 12 is because she was overweight. I mean, I can't imagine, saying that to my child. It's like, yeah, you got a child that's overweight, you kind of help them. For me, I put my child in sports. You know what I mean? Like, you don't just
Mm-hmm.
go and tell them, anyway. Um, what's your take on that, Camille, before we go deeper into, recap, if I
Yeah.
might have
So
missed anything?
no. So yeah, I agree with you. That had to been a lot, and I feel like she had, these issues, and they kind of like swept them under the rug. Kind of, associate everything with her weight. And just she kind of like she had like a soul suicidal. Like at the like after a while, she just mentally didn't care about a lot of things. So yeah, I feel like that was a lot for her to have to deal with as a kid growing up.
I agree. I agree. And I mean, just the uh just the low self-esteem aspect of it and
And
going
wanting to, yeah.
and trying to
Mm-hmm.
navigate through life and already feeling like you're inadequate and not good enough, whatever the case is. I mean, I know I had childhood traumas, and those childhood traumas had me thinking things about myself, and you know, yeah, it just, I mean, and it manifested in my adult life, where it's
Right.
like, I had I was abandoned, so then when it comes to like relationships, I'm like, I'll try to self sabotage and make sure that like I leave first before you leave me. Like you ain't gonna leave me, that kind of stuff. A lot of
Right.
that stuff goes back to my childhood. So it was yeah, so I really related to her story once I saw that and saw what was going on with her. I saw a lot of comments online talking about, oh yeah, that's what she gets, it's karma, and what goes around comes around, and rightfully so. However, it's still like, what is the real stuff? What's going on with that? Like, nobody is just messy for no reason. You ever see your
Right.
friends or somebody that you went to school with, they just, tell everybody business, or they tell, when you really look deeper into them, like they are struggling with a lot of unresolved conflicts that's going on inside themselves, and they think nobody knows. Well, no, we don't know what the conflict is, but we see your behavior. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, that's crazy. Um, so yeah. Basically the childhood trauma manifested more into her adult life, and like I said, the bedwetting, the low self-esteem, down to the substance abuse. Now when you're getting into the substance abuse, it's like, well, she clearly was trying to run or hide, suppress a lot of those emotions and pain that was coming up with all the different areas. I mean, it was just so I watched the documentary, and then I watched the Wendy Williams story, and then I watched the all these other stuff. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I dived deep into the whole thing. She also had a sister that was like perfect. So I didn't grow up with a sister, so I don't really know how to compare myself to a sister, but she did, and she didn't do it on her own. Her parents compared her to the sister. She
Right.
was in special ed classes, and her sister wasn't. You know, I guess she felt like her sister was pretty. Her sister didn't have a lot of the issues that she had. So that was already, like what was going on with that. And on the last show that we did this, we were trying to find out like what was going on with the sister. Like, where is she? Like, does anybody heard from her? I didn't do that much, because I was trying to find the stuff for this other stuff. But once we were going through it, it was like, you know what? Where is the sister? Where was she? And why is she allowing all of this stuff to go on with her sister? Even if you're beefing, it's like, okay, you're messy. You done been messy all your life, but I'm still not going to allow other people in your, and mistreat you.
Right.
So, you had then went and did some other research on the sister. So
So,
what was going on
so
with the sister?
the sister Wanda, she's okay. So she apparently, as they were getting older, her and Wendy did form a relationship. And it's when Wendy became,
Wait, hold on. So they didn't have a relationship when they were kids?
no, they didn't have like a close relationship. But as Wendy got older, they did have a relationship.
Hmm.
But the sister did not like the way Wendy would drink all the time. She hated,
So as they got older, okay.
yeah. So as they got older, the sister hated the fact that Wendy, the excessive drinking, the drugs, and just everything. So sister, she hated it. She didn't like it,
Mhm.
but she still was around. That's her sister. But
Right.
of course, Wendy had her different lifestyle, and the sister, had her own.
Hmm.
Apparently, the sister was still with her until she got to the. She actually, I believe, she went with her to the rehab. But once Wendy got there, it's when the conservator got in. She got in the middle, and that's when she kind of like forced all the family to stay away, and kind of like, I remember you saying before that she took the phone. Like, Wendy couldn't even order her own food. Everything had to go through this conservator. Sabrina is the conservator. Everything had to go through her, and apparently she was trying to make it as so Wendy's family didn't have too much contact with her because she was trying. It was she's a court order conservator, and she's trying to convince the court that Wendy's family is the one that's, taking her money, mishandling her, so she's trying to convince the court that Wendy's family is no good for her. So the conservator is the one who got in between Wendy and Wanda and a few other people, and Kevin, the son, and Will. It was all the conservator.
So a stranger can stop me from talking to my sister?
She's a court order conservator, so whatever she says, the court has appointed her to be responsible for everything for Wendy, and this is what she did. This is what she thought, because once I started, like, getting into it, it gets real deeper. Like, she had hidden agendas as well. This
Did she?
conservator.
Okay.
So, for my opinion, I feel like, okay, she was saying, okay, let's keep the family away so I can do what I need to do to Wendy without anyone. Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
wait, so how can she do that without, I mean, all the eyes,
she
like
can
the
do
court,
anything at this point. She's her guardian. She can do anything she wants. She's responsible for everything.
that's crazy. Like,
It
so
is.
now okay, so I was thinking that the family was neglecting her because I was getting angry. I'm like, where is the
No.
people that love
So
her? She
no.
around all these strangers.
No. So on top. Okay. So the family was annoyed with the aggressive behavior, but that all came because of the dementia and all the other stuff she had going on. But and really, in my opinion, Wendy always been kind of like a little bully, like, and I guess it's just gotten
Yeah.
worse because of the sickness and all what she was
Right.
going through.
Mm-hmm.
So, they were a little annoyed, but not to the point where they'll just leave her out with no, just, out there. It was the conservators' decision to keep the family away and to keep Wendy isolated.
Mm. And the family just gotta oblige. Like, they just gotta, like, oh, I can't speak to her. Like,
Yeah, well,
I guess.
she didn't have. They would call her. Okay, she had a friend. Okay, because remember last week, Sunday, we talked about. But as she got older, she did have a good friend named Regina. Sorry. Um, that was her friend, and so apparently, what Regina did, what they did was try to, like, they turned the phone off. They took her phone. She couldn't talk to anybody. Regina would call her for days. It would go to voicemail. So they were like really trying to keep her away from talking to anybody.
Okay, so that makes sense now because I was like, this is her good, friend from, all these years or whatever. This is like her closest person to her. And the friend was like, yeah, I haven't talked to her in a while because they took her phone. And it was so in my mind, I'm like, I don't care that nobody took my friend's phone. Like, I'm pulling up. Like, what do you mean I don't
Right,
care you took her phone. Like,
right.
knock, knock, knock. I'm here. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so now that makes sense. And court appointed and all of that. It's almost like a prison or something. I don't really know too much
Yeah,
about conservatorship. Like, that's a whole different, like, wow. So the sister is basically in her life. She just can't be. And same as with the son. Because they
yeah,
said like
yeah.
the
So,
son,
so, so,
she would go down to Florida and like hang out with her son and hang out with the family. But then when she's in New York, that they don't have access to her. So it's like, I don't know, something was a little fishy about that. Your phone, your phone, is your volume on?
no, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, like, let me just go into unresolved trauma and what unresolved trauma can cause for anybody, not just a regular person. Now we're talking about Wendy, who was in special ed classes and wetting the bed until she was 12 years old. So clearly there was an underlying issue that was going on there that nobody really addressed. They just thought it was some heavy overweight stuff. That was her parents and their their pride, I guess. I don't know. So unresolved trauma can cause emotional distress.
Mhm.
Okay. And often leads to intense emotional distress, including anxiety, depression, anger, and shame. These
Mhm.
emotions may surface unexpectedly or become overwhelming, making it difficult to manage daily life and relationships. Okay. Um, you know, Individuals who have experienced trauma may develop avoidance behavior as a coping mechanism. Um, this can include avoiding places, people, and situations that trigger memories of the traumatic event, as well as avoiding discussing or thinking about the trauma altogether. So I'm
Mhm.
going through this just because, we may, you know, us as a general or people in our lives are maybe dealing with this stuff, and you guys are automatically judging them, or pointing the finger at them, or calling them toxic. This whole everybody using toxic now. It's like it's so corny.
Right.
And it's like the people that's using toxic is the toxic ones. That's the part that's crazy. It's like, yo, you don't see that. You don't People think that their issues that they're hiding, the secrets that they have, they think that nobody else can see it. It's like
Mhm.
it's coming out in your actions. It's like it's crazy. And your behaviors, Um unresolved trauma can also cause flashbacks. Trauma survivors may experience flashbacks or intrusive memories of the traumatic event, which can feel as though they are reliving that experience. Those are called triggers. Um, these symptoms can be distressing and disruptive, interfering with concentration, sleep, and overall function in life.
Mhm.
Um, Trauma can also manifest in physical symptoms, you know, such as like headaches,
Mhm.
gastrointestinal issues, chronic pain, and fatigue. We be thinking that we drained and all of that, and we tired and all, or our back hurt, and the whole time it's trauma.
Right.
My trauma used to be in my hips, which was crazy. It was like, I thought it was like old age or something, or getting up there, but this was like in my 30s. So I sit
Mm.
down for a long period of time, and I get up, and it's like my hips are still sitting. So that's where I'm doing. And now that I'm doing weight loss influencing and things like that, like I'm introducing uh hip movement,
Mhm.
somatic healing. So make sure y'all follow me on Confidently Reinvented, okay? Because these hips be moving, and it's gonna get better. But back to this. Physical symptoms. No, we just did the physical. Hypervigilance. Trauma survivors may develop a heightened sense of alertness or hypervigilance, constantly scanning the environment for potential threats. That was me. My PTSD used to have me on high alert. There were people who used to
Mhm.
think that I was angry. Whole time I'm anxious. I'm like, I gotta make sure, like, who's gonna, all of my trauma. My trauma is complex. My trauma, I got complex PTSD. So people will judge me because I have issues inside. You see what I'm saying? Like, it'd be
Right.
like, child, okay. Um, this state of hyperarousal can lead to feelings of tension, irritability, and difficulty relaxing or sleeping. And that's crazy. Um, Now, trusting others, this is my favorite. Trauma can erode trust in oneself and others, leading to difficulties in forming and maintaining relationships. Survivors may struggle to trust others, fear of intimacy, or have difficulty expressing their emotions and needs. That's me right there. I done already, with dating, I just say pick somebody else. I don't want. I just rather be alone versus doing that, because I know where my triggers are. So that's where my life been peaceful. It's like, listen, I ain't that horny to have nobody around bothering me. um, Self-destructive behavior. Some individuals may turn into self-destructive behaviors such as substance abuse, self-harm, risky behaviors as a way to cope with the pain of the unresolved trauma.
Mhm.
These behaviors provide temporary relief, but can ultimately exacerbate the trauma and its effects. Um, Now, the lastly, the impact on the self identity, because this was big in Wendy's life,
Mhm.
and especially with the way she looked now. It's like, what was going on there? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I had some insecurities, and my insecurities was in my gut. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
Right.
I would only take pictures, head pics and all of that. So I'm getting past all of that because I'm coming out. All of that trying to hold and keep all these secrets and not listen. It's time. Whatever you don't like about yourself, just fix it. I mean, trying to hide it is you doing yourself a disservice. Go on and correct the issue.
Right.
So trauma can fundamentally alter one's sense of self, leading to feelings of worthlessness, shame, and inadequacy. Survivors may struggle with low self-esteem, negative self-talk, and distorted self-image as a result of their traumatic experience. So that was like really big. And when
Yeah.
when you look at the Wendy, it's like she already had these self-esteem issues growing up with being overweight, special ed, peeing in the bed. I'm sure people in her class knew that she was peeing in the bed. You know how to, you could tell people who peed in the bed because they came to school smelling like pee.
Right.
So if they wasn't the peer, somebody in their household was, or was a pissy, it was just, you just knew. So I'm sure she got teased on about that, teased on about being in the special ed, teased on about her weight, all of those things dealing with as a child. That's heavy. Some
Mhm.
adults can't even deal with that.
Right.
So now going through life and trying to navigate through this, and then then she goes through, before she even meet her husband, she's dating. So she goes to she went into the situation where she met EPMD, Eric
Mhm.
Sermon, and she really liked him.
Right.
And this whole time she thought she was in a relationship with him, child. This time this man was just jumping up and down on her. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
And the
he was just coming for a good time. And that's the problem, with a lot of women with self-esteem. They don't even realize that men, they think that they horny, and as long as they get a man, and they be like, girl, that man don't want you for real. So then they be wondering why the man don't stick around, why he don't stay. You know what I'm saying? Because, girl, why
right.
would he? Why would he? I mean, anybody, they don't wife nothing up like that. That's just giving it away. They know that you ain't that horny. They look at you different. If they could get it that quick, anybody could. So anyway, so she had the self-esteem issues. She had
Mhm.
the all of that, and dealing with these men who didn't really want her and all of that. So now she meet her husband, the man who loved her. So
Mhm.
she think
Yeah. So,
he helped
yes.
her out with the drug use.
Yeah. He kind of like cleaned her up, got her,
So that's the
on
sense
the
of
right track.
loyalty.
Mhm.
That's the sense of loyalty that she had with that. I can
Right.
relate to that sense of loyalty. I had, my ex-husband took me off of the street. I was homeless and, drug addicted when he met me. So by him, putting me up, and then I was able to go back to adult ed, then go to college and all this stuff. So I felt like I owed this man
Right.
something. You know what I'm saying? And in return, he kept beating me up. I don't know how many black eyes and busted lips and strangled, bloodshot. I mean, like, it was a lot. So I would hide this from my family because it's like, this man saved me from me, and because I was so broken, I didn't realize how broken he was. I thought that that was love. And
Mm.
for a lot of other years thinking that that was love. So now with her, this man that took her off of drugs, helped her do all of this. So she's hiding, he out cheating. Hey, she probably one of them chicks that think like, hey, as long as he coming back home to me, you know what I'm saying? Because that's who I was like, shoot, the girls who was trying to throw it in my face, like, oh yeah, your husband this and this and that, your husband this, and it's like, girl, did he stay there? Did he? How long did he stay? Because, girl, that
right.
just tell you something. He was coming home. So
Well,
that was something that I did to, I don't know, save face,
right.
protect my pride, that type of stuff. But she dealt with that for years and years on end, on top of the other unresolved issues, on top of the other unresolved issues. So, I thought this was like important to bring up because of the fact that everybody want to, oh, karma, oh, hurt people, you know what I'm saying? So Yeah. So, now, so so about the conservator and the manager. So are they like what's going on with them now?
So well, after the interview, there was a rumor going around that Wendy fired the manager because apparently they told her they were misleading her to believe that she was getting ready to do a podcast. This was like her exposure to get back out and to create this podcast, but that wasn't the truth. So there was a rumor going out that she was, went off on everybody after the whole documentary. She just went ham, like, they lied a lot, and she apparently fired the manager, but then he cleared the air. He's not fired. He was only looking out for her um best interest, and they didn't know that they didn't know she was that in that stage of the dementia and everything else. They didn't know it was as bad because they hadn't been around her as much. So now he's still around, like, he's still there, but no one else is there. Kevin isn't, the son isn't there, Wanda isn't there, Regina isn't there. There's Sean is the publicist.
So Sean is the publicist, yeah.
Right. She was around, but apparently they're saying that she has like a little, she's in for something too. Like basically everybody that's around is waiting to see what they can get out of this whole thing.
So that's what I thought. So here's the thing. These are people that was used to dealing with her bullshit, right? She was, she was Wendy. Wendy was Wendy, and they were also, I'm sure, being compensated handsomely for, being her roly and being on her team and being on her, you know what I'm saying? Now that the money is locked up and she don't even got access to her own money, now you see people true colors. Now it's like, yeah, nah, where is the money? I even seen the driver, he was like, yeah, to deal with a Wendy, I need to be paid for real. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's about money. Like nobody really genuinely care. It's
Right.
a, it's a sad feeling.
And they're forcing her to believe that she's going to make more money now in the condition that she is. Like, no, Wendy, you're not even, like I said, I didn't even agree with that whole documentary. I don't think that she should have even moved. She should have even done that. Like, so
Exactly.
they're making her believe that she's going to come back out and she's going to be a miracle's going to happen and she's going to be healed and she's going to get back out and be doing the same thing all over again. But
So what I don't understand is if you got this conservator that's taking you away from your family and holding your money, why is she allowing you to get on camera in these very compromising predicaments in
of
front of
course,
the public? I
Lifetime
mean,
made a
they had
good,
her on there on sleep. Like, I was
yeah.
like, come on now, come
They
on.
had,
Like,
yeah.
who was in charge of this?
Yeah, it's
Conservator.
all about the money because Lifetime definitely made a good piece of penny off like that. Lifetime hadn't had that many views in years. So like they made a good penny off of the story. And of course the conservator definitely had her piece. So anything that was involving money.
Okay, but like even the document was shit. It is like it was like a piece of shit. Like it wasn't even, it was halfway edited. It wasn't like nobody cared. Like it was
Did you
like
see
just
the
throw this stuff
cat?
together, get her in
Did,
an uncompromising predicament, you know. Uh I don't know. Like that was just it was just distasteful all around the board.
so kind of like, let's play devil's advocate here. I kind of, do you think that maybe Wendy was going a little extra harder to get the people's attention? Do you think that it was all due to her medical issues why she was, so being radical and that behavior? Do you, because this is Wendy we talking about, right? Like, I mean, I know she's not in the right state of mind, but it was just so much. Like how she was telling Sean, like, you should go get a tummy tuck, or like, and just being so like belligerent and just rude and just, I don't know. It's just kind of. I don't
So
know.
have you ever seen somebody else with dementia
Oh
and
yes.
seen the symptoms of dementia?
Yes.
Because that was pretty common for dementia.
Right.
So it was, the thing is, most people who are suffering from dementia or are surrounded by loved ones. So the people, they know, like, oh, okay, don't do, okay, let me just, that's just my auntie, or that's just my, you know what I mean? Like, they make do, but these are all strangers, and that's why they're, it's like, it's offensive and all of that. I thought it was pretty weird. She was like telling the girl that she needed to get liposuction and
Yeah,
all
yeah,
of
that's
this
what she
stuff.
was saying.
Um, you know, but at a certain point, I mean, you know, you have to give somebody like that grace. That's just like working in a, with the elderly. What would you do with the
Well,
elderly
that's what
when
I'm
they go?
saying because I work, that's my profession. That's the
Okay.
field I'm in, and so I've worked with dementia, but they've never like it was just a little spice to Wendy's
The
condition. Like
mental
it,
health, the childhood trauma.
yeah,
Yeah.
that could
Yeah,
be
she's
it
still,
too.
I mean, she's messy. She's messy. She got
Right.
self-esteem issues. So she is messy. There's no
No.
doubt about her
Right.
being messy.
Right.
At some point, even with the childhood trauma and the stuff and the, all the stuff that she'd been through, what happened is that she didn't acknowledge that she had a problem. She didn't acknowledge that anything was wrong. Down to, I mean, when she got SA'd, when she, had to abort the baby, all of those things she never went and got help for. So
Right.
all of that unresolved trauma, it just piles on top of each other and piles on top of each other. And I mean, it got to come out somehow, you know? So
Hmm.
that's where it is. It's like, dang. I mean, it's unfortunate. I would, I wouldn't wish that on anyone in my family.
It's just that
But
she has so much going on. Like it's just not the dementia; it's the alcoholism. It's the the what
right,
did you say was the name of the disease with the foot she had?
the lymphedema.
Yeah, it's just so much, and it's like, and then now on top of that, she's broke and she doesn't have any money, and she's trying to come back out. It's just so much with her. It's like not just one thing.
Yeah, and that's why it's a it's a whole, see, a basket case. I mean, all
Yeah,
of this stuff is all happening at once. Then, not to mention, she is still grieving her mom. Okay, nobody mentions that she's grieving her mom. Then she's grieving of a marriage that she held
yeah.
on to for so long. Those two
She's
things alone, let's just say she didn't have all of that childhood trauma, and she wasn't a bedwetter, and on, I mean, that alone will bring somebody down to their knees.
yeah,
So um
absolutely. She lived in a house with her husband, her son, and her cats, and now it's just her and her cats.
wow. And yeah, so I mean, she had a
So she's
family.
lonely.
She had a family. How long was she with him? Do you know?
I don't
Because
even
that's a
remember.
long time. I mean,
Yeah, she.
I wasn't
Well,
married that long, and I mean, it was still very, very difficult for me to learn how to live on my own and to, do everything alone without that
right,
extra support. Even if the support wasn't shit, like, it was still somebody there, it was a body there, you know.
right,
Um,
right.
so all of that going on, and she's still a public figure. She got a save face in front of the world because everybody watching. You know, I mean, it's pretty sad when you look at it. I mean, I'm very compassionate and I'm an empath, so I can't, somebody have to be a really shitty person in order for me to, like, oh no, da, 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 da. Because I mean, I understand what's going on. You know what I mean?
Right. So,
I don't look at just the surface. I kind of
mhm.
dive deeper into what's actually going on. And there was a lot. Once I did this, it was like, well, what do they expect somebody with all of this going on? How do they expect them to go? I mean, the fact that she's still even, I'm not going to say in her right mind, but the fact that she stayed in her right mind all that time and not unraveled or, ended up in the crazy house, or, I mean, all of that. I mean, it's just, that's a lot. It's a lot.
Right,
So I wasn't sure how that, it was like, for people not to see that, it's like, shame on you. Like, what is going on with
right.
you? And a lot of times, like I said, the people who want to point fingers and do all of that. A lot of times they got more stuff going on in their closet than
That just wasn't
anything, and
exposed.
and they like to project. People project. People don't just like, oh, she's this, she's that. No, that means something else is going on with you, and you want people, oh, her. Don't look at me, it's her. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so every time when I see people, like gossipy, people that get a rise out of people's pain, people's downfall, people, shortcoming. I look at them, they be thinking that that's cute. I be like, what's really going on with you for you to think
Right.
like, really, what, like, who does that? So that's where I was saying, like, people really think that they're because they put a mask on themselves, and then they lie to themselves. They think
Because
that that everybody believed the lie. Like it's clear that something is going on with you.
like you said, who gets a kick out of other people, but so they're not having sympathy for Wendy because she got a kick out of exposing people. And remember last week we were
She
talking
got a kick
about,
out of exposing people because that's what she was doing. That was her job. She got paid for it. That's what I'm saying. She got paid for doing
so
what she did. So if they're getting paid, then that's great. That's a job
so
at that point.
mm,
Yeah. So that's what I meant. Um, yeah, it was a job. I mean, we don't get mad at judges for ruling out. You know what I mean? Like it's that
mm-hmm,
they got a job to do. You know, um, somebody got to do it. You know, and she
mm-hmm,
was the first one, to do it. I'm not making exceptions for her behavior, none whatsoever. She was
right.
messy as hell. I wouldn't have been able to, hang around her or whatever. I'm
Mm-hmm,
just saying from the mental health aspect, there was a lot going on there.
mm-hmm,
And shining light on it. Well, there's a lot of other people that's dealing with way more than Wendy is, dealing with, that they're hiding, and it's coming out in different ways. That dark humor that like people post on Facebook, and it'd be like a overweight person posting a fat person, a fatter person. So it's like
mm-hmm,
you don't
mm-hmm,
see you
mm-hmm,
laughing at this, but you don't see you, you know,
right.
or somebody posting like somebody who they think is ugly. It's like,
Mm-hmm,
wow, you
right.
got some nerve. Wow, I would stay far away from that topic, but hey, you know. Um, but yeah, so I can see the projection. I see when people go and do that. All right, so we broke down the childhood traumas, the family dynamics, um, the unresolved conflicts, the struggles with substance abuse. So do you so she was very open about that substance abuse stuff, and to her mental health. Um Now how do you think, like, all of that correlate even after learning this new information?
Well, like you said, everybody has some form of struggle that they went through, right? Um, or maybe so. And mental health is, well, I'm not gonna really speak too much about it, but I feel like, okay, I feel like you, like I feel like she had all these underlying issues, and it rolled over into her adulthood. Doesn't justify her behavior, but like you said, she had a job to do, so it helped her kind of in her job because hurt people, and she was hurt. So
Right.
now she's hurting other people.
Hmm. um I mean, it was her job. But yeah, I mean, it was very unfortunate. I couldn't imagine being her in any way. But I mean, then you got these like Tasha K's that's coming out and doing all of that kind of stuff, and you know they're just doing it to be messy, or maybe we might find out there's something else is going on with them. But at
Right,
some point,
right.
the older you get, even if you get them negative thoughts about somebody, you go on about life, like, because you got other stuff going on. You don't go and
Mm-hmm.
you know kind of shine light on somebody else's darkness. That's kind of weird. So in the documentary, they shed light on her low self-esteem. and the early trauma that contributed to that. Um, where so where am I? So what about like her let's dive into like the how everything all blends together with like the trauma, the infidelity, the all of that and her suppressing it. I mean, how do you think like all of these how do they manifest in her life? Like this like, you're still like, yeah, she shouldn't have been like so messy or like what? What's your overall.
No, I mean I agree. She had a job to do. I mean the well, let's go back a little bit. The insecurity and the low self esteem, it started from her mom, her parents, and the school teachers and stuff like that. But then even as an adult, in her marriage with Kevin, she labeled him as a serial cheater, and she would make excuses for him. She would make excuses for being with him because of this, wanting to have this family and not wanting to break her family up apart and not wanting to, you know, just seem like she failed at something.
Right.
So I agree with you, but it really rolled over into her adult life, and I feel like it did have an effect with her in her marriage, and that's when she started with the excessive drinking because she was just so depressed. Here is she just had a baby and she finds out her husband's having an affair with a bank teller, and then he says he breaks it off, but then she gets on her show and says, "Oh, Kevin's not cheating." And then he cheats again, and then now, oh yeah, well, the cheating was the best thing that happened to our relationship because now he loves me even more. And then she goes and, but before she even says that, she says how one of the reasons she stays with him because look at her. She didn't feel like she was up to par to meeting another husband. No one would want her. There's no way she can just go dropping her clothes and getting in the bed with another man at the way she felt it with her body. She just had a baby. She already was having insecurities. It was just a lot. So she's like, let me just stay with who I'm comfortable with because so she kind of like accepted this behavior from him, and he knew this and played on it, and then it just became worse until till he had the affair with the girl he had the baby with. But he took it, he ran with it after that. He had a whole, he lived right around the corner from Wendy, a house, and using Wendy's money to take care of this mistress. And so when she finds out that this man they have a big house not too far from hers. He's using all her money to support this woman. She went
Hold
sick.
on, I'm bringing Kai in. Go ahead, keep going.
Okay. Yeah, so she finds out, hi Kai,
Hey,
how
ladies.
you doing?
Good
So
So
to
she
she
see
finds
finds
out.
you.
out it's devastating news that her husband's having an affair a couple blocks around from her. He purchases a big home, fancy cars for this mistress. So she's kind of like, oh, she's still having insecurity issues. She's still feeling like, I don't want to lose him, so I'm gonna accept the cheating. But as long as you don't bring an STD or a baby, we can still be together.
So you're saying that back up. You said when she had her son,
So when
like
she
that
first,
one baby
that's
that
when
she
the
had,
cheating.
he started
Yes,
cheating way back then.
yes. That's when she first found out. So Kevin, the baby was a couple months, and she got out the bed to do something, and she heard him in the guest room on the phone,
Oh, in the bathroom or something.
right,
Yeah.
with the mistress. So it was a lady from the bank teller, and he came forward with it and told her, yeah, I was dealing with her, but I'm gonna cut it off. I love you. Oh, I missed the whole piece. The reason why he said that because she had a lot of miscarriages, right? And so when she finally got pregnant that last time, she agreed that they would not have sexual intercourse because she felt like them having sexual intercourse was causing
Might
her
do
to,
it. Yeah.
right, to
Oh, I do
miscarry.
remember that.
Right.
Yep.
So now she's not having sex with her husband. He got to go out and get it. So from somewhere, basically, that's what. So So I guess she kind of like blamed herself a little bit because okay, I wasn't giving him none, so he got to go out and get it from somewhere. And he's telling her, "I love you, Wendy. I'm gonna cut it off. I don't want to be with her." So apparently he cuts it off, but he probably cut it off and found a new victim because he was just a civil. He kept cheating. It never stopped with him. But she, at one point, when I guess she figured out that there was nothing she can do, she just accepted it. Like, okay, I know that you're having an affair with this lady. I know that you're doing this. As long as you don't bring an STD, as long as you don't have a baby, then what else are we gonna do? So,
Mm. Mm-mm-mm.
Wow.
That's very that's so and her son is basically grown. So that
he's
means she dealt
21.
with
Is he
all of
21
this.
or 22? He's
She dealt with this infidelity for all these years. That's a long time to be hiding and keeping a secret and pretending to be happy now.
mm-hmm.
That's
Well, I
draining.
mean, in certain circumstances when it's like that, you have to really ask yourself, that was she really hiding it though? Because like
Right.
like was she really hiding it though? You know what I'm saying? Like I think a lot of times as women, we convince ourselves that, oh, we didn't know, or we didn't, or, I didn't think it would be like that because, when you at a point in life where you want love and you want acceptance, and I can't even imagine how she felt because this is the person she felt like saved her from a dark moment. So I
Right.
can relate to that. Like when you have somebody come into your life and you feel like they saved you from a moment in life where it could have really destroyed you, I can understand her allegiance and loyalty to him because it's like
Same.
you see this person that did everything to help you come out of a dark space, and now he's being a whole nother person. So that had to be devastating to accept that you made pretty much you falsified this person in your life. You
Yeah.
thought he was the light at the end of the tunnel when you have nothing to worry about. And then now you got to deal with the fact that this person been really finessing you, like really just hiding who they really were to you the whole damn time. And then you have to, accept the fact that you saw the red flags, you saw the signs, but yet your heart just wouldn't let you let go of this person. I mean, Wendy's story really ain't too far fetched from most women's lives. It's just she had money. You feel me?
Right.
And when
Mm-hmm.
you have money, you can go and do things to distract yourself. And the sad part about it is that he held on to her to the point where she really ain't have nothing left to pour into nobody or anyone else.
Yeah.
And she had her career to keep her busy. And, now it makes sense because when you think about it, hurt people. Like, don't get me wrong, at the end of the day, she was doing her job and doing what she needed to do. But, I'm a total believer, what you put out in this world, you will get back. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And just seeing her, I honestly feel like Wendy passed her time. Like I feel like that talk show
Right.
was something that should have already been passed. Like Wendy was a mogul, you know what I'm saying? And she really deserved to be somewhere else. And she really deserved her flowers way more than people wanted to, give her. I think people like to think that she was being messy, but a lot of times it didn't have to be messy. It was already messy. She just was reporting it, you know what I'm saying? And
Okay.
Right.
she may
Right.
not have done it in the best,
In the most tasteful way. Your phone. What happened to your? Uh-oh. So I think she was saying like, it's like, yeah, she was basically, you know, she was hurt people, like she could have done it a
right.
lot better, but the way that she did it was strictly from her trauma. She was looking at it from her trauma lens, and that's unfortunate. What were you saying, Sakai?
No, what I was saying is that, like hurt people. And because, I think she just was doing her best to stay, because when you got other people's shit distracting you, you really don't have time to focus on what's in front of you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And like I said, why wouldn't she believe this man loved her? If he pulled her out of a dark spot, I mean, I would think that, like, oh my God, he came here, he helped me, but maybe Kevin lost his way too. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes money make people act crazy and stupid. They forget their morale, they forget their integrity. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's unfortunate that he probably saw Wendy as an easy target. You know what I'm saying? Because money don't mean you strong. Money don't mean you secure. Money don't mean you feel good about yourself. So, I mean, just think about it. She was insecure. She had an addiction. Her parents made her feel like she wasn't good enough. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You have no real friends. So all of that stuff transfers into your adulthood. So
It
now
does.
you're an adult person with insecurities, no friends, addictions, never felt good, never felt love, never felt beautiful.
Now, how is it gonna be displayed? Mess, toxic, you know?
Right. It's going to show up in your relationships. It's going to show up in your work life. It's going to show up in your friendships. It's going to show up in your parenting. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
she really just didn't get the help that she needed to get. And it's unfortunate that so many of us walking around with trauma bonds, trauma that we haven't had the opportunity to even face or heal, or convinced yourself that this is just the way I am, when the reality of it is no, it's just the what you chose to be. Because like you said, she was comfortable. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes comfortable is the worst thing for anybody to be in, because
Right.
the saying, you shouldn't shit long enough, it starts not to stink. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's true. So it's like, it was just really unfortunate that, like she has family, she has a whole son. Like I'm just imagining like my son letting people just, handle me any kind of way, and I'm on TV and watching. I'm like, where is the, like people that's like, no, like, okay, even okay, let's say the conservator, couldn't, she can't get her money, she can't do all of this. Like somebody, don't air that Lifetime thing. Oh, but
Right.
that could have been how she made money because she don't have a show. So it kind of could have been like kind of forced. Maybe she might be going, they're not really talking about her finances, but she could be like, like all the money is gone and she has to get this kind of money. That's why they
I
was
don't
talking
think
about the
she's
podcast.
broke, but I don't
No,
think she has
I
real
think
people
she
around
has
her.
some money. She doesn't have the money she, used to have, but she has some money. And why Kevin, the son, he was recently spending $90,000 on Uber Eats. Like, what was he like? So now the conservator has these receipts to show the judge, like they're abusing her money, like financially. So
That's so
that,
sad.
so she really had some valid points, but in his defense he says, oh, my mom, this is what she did when she was in her right state of mind. She spent money like this, she did everything, she lived a fabulous life, so this is what we did.
So they just looked at something that they thought was, excessive, not going back into the history of her
Yep.
spending.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, that wasn't wise. I mean that's where it seemed like it's like foul play. It's like somebody is trying to,
The Sabrina,
manipulate her in
yes,
this very
mm-hmm.
fragile state that she's in because of all that she's done or whatever. People
Right.
like that you really can't trust nobody. Like who
I
really
Right.
got
mean,
your
think
back?
about it. They mostly destroy. I mean, if you think about the people they destroy that's innocent, can you imagine how many enemies and alliances she's made over the years for people exposing up? To me
Right.
personally, I ain't never really had nothing against Wendy except when she tried to talk about my auntie Whitney. Other than that, we good. I ain't had no problems with her, but don't come for my aunt. But other than that,
But
Well,
they made up. They made
Whitney
up.
was standing up for herself. She put her in her place.
She
exactly.
did.
She put her
She
in her
did.
place. She let her know, don't play with me. I'm not a kid.
Don't
Go play with somebody else,
don't play
baby.
with don't
Period.
play with
Yeah. And
But
then
other than that,
I like the way she put her in a place, and at the end of the conversation it was, I love you and I love you too, because
right.
go play with
But guess
somebody
what?
else.
But okay, now let's talk about that
Mm-hmm.
because Wendy, she was, she actually showed the public who Whitney Houston really was behind doors that nobody ever saw her in that light. No
Mm-mm.
one. So
And it's
when people used to say, "Oh, she be cussing or whatever," all they saw was Whitney as her mother's daughter, that Christian and all of this stuff.
America's sweetheart.
Yes, because they was even mad at Bobby Brown, thinking that he had a big part in that. However, Wendy got that girl on video saying Girl, stop playing with the real Whitney. That was a staple in, like, the pop community or whatever it was, because it was like, wow, Wendy got that exclusive interview that nobody else could get, that
Mm-hmm.
that raw footage of her real
Whitney.
personality. Like,
It's
what would
like,
be great? That would be like somebody getting that about Beyonce, because I
right.
guarantee you, somebody get
Right.
that girl on, record one of them phone calls or whatever. Listen, that beehive, let's smoke them out. Get the smoker, smoke the beehive. No, sir.
And see, and that's what I don't respect about the industry now, because now people trying to say, oh, well, look at all the stuff that she did and how she talked about people. And my thing is like, are y'all kidding me? Like the same shit Wendy was doing years ago, everybody doing it now, because
Of course.
Everybody's
they
Of
doing it.
course.
social media is on everything. So it's like y'all talking
Everybody's a
about
hot
her.
topic.
She
Everybody has
paved
a
the
hot
way.
topic. Yep. And it came
So
from
she pretty
Wendy.
much
Hot
did, you
topic.
feel me?
Yeah. So that's where it's like, that's the part that I just like, people was like putting her in. I mean, and she do deserve to, like, let's not forget all the messy stuff that she did. However, it's like, come on now, this is a lady on her sick bed. It's like, some that have
I
some
couldn't even
compassion.
say that. Like to me, it was like I couldn't even believe the things people were saying. Oh, because she did this, so she deserved to be mistreated
It
and
was so
taken
weird seeing
advantage of
the
and
type of
teared down.
commentary, people was having. It was like, wow. Do
I
you start
couldn't
seeing them?
imagine. I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine. We living in such a world where it's just no more bedside manners. Like nobody has no more humility anymore. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, damn, at the end of the day, she did her job, but she don't deserve to be mistreated. She don't deserve for
Right.
somebody to run her down. And it's just like she just had to, be a be in public embarrassment. Really, you know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah,
it's like,
humiliated. Because that
who wants to
documentary
do
was just
that?
not.
Like, could you?
They had her cats using the bathroom on the floor, and just like it was so disgusting. Like,
Oh
and it's like,
God.
why are y'all showing this for
That
real?
I
And
couldn't watch it. I didn't watch it honestly. I just found out most of the information from like watching certain clips of people who had certain things to say,
Mm-hmm.
and because I just felt like it was about to be like some type of, you know, just I didn't think it was gonna be the best. I knew it when I said anyway. When I knew Lifetime was behind it, I said, yeah, this is about to be another humiliate another person of color for national TV for the world to see. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And I just couldn't. I don't respect that at all, and I don't respect anybody who had anything to do with it. And I really feel bad for the fact that her son don't have enough in him to stand up, and or maybe I don't know what the situation is, but I'm sorry. I could not stand by and let somebody make a public spectacle of my mother despite whatever happened to her. There's no way in hell y'all gonna tell me that these people is better for my mother than me. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, but
Right.
then, like, what? That's why I was saying, I feel the same way. That's why I was like, I don't really understand the conservatorship. Like,
Yeah.
how did that even how does that work? Like, because when it's court ordered or whatever, like, you don't have a say. Because like what Camille was saying, because I'm like, where is the sister? I was saying that, like, from the first, where is the sister? Where is the son? Like, what is going on? She got a best friend that she's saying, oh yeah, they took her phone, so I haven't talked to her in weeks. And I was like, what? But when it's like court ordered, like, how does that, like, you can't, it's almost like she's in jail. Like, you gotta wait
Mm-hmm.
for your visit. You get a visit
Right.
on Sunday or something, or like, I remember when I was in rehab when I was 16, and I'm a minor, I'm a kid, and it's like, you're used to being free and doing all of this, but it was like, you locked up in this facility, and then you could only use the phone at a certain amount of time. You got to have quarters, so it was just like, it was so, when I see like what Wendy and all of these rules, I think of that. I'm like, they could have just put her in a rehab, like, all of this rules, like, get her clean.
Well,
And
go ahead.
and then mentally you don't really know where she was at in her mindset when all her health started failing. You know what I'm saying? Because I really feel like that fall was was the stroke, and I believe that she probably was in denial of her health, and I don't think the people around her really cared enough about her health either. You know what I'm saying?
And they was
And
trying to
they let
cover
it
it
go
up.
too long. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, damn. And then the stress of your body being teared down emotionally. I can't even imagine what that feel like, to know like your husband is basically having a whole public relationship with somebody. Then you got this troll of a person coming for you, talking about you, dogging you. You don't even know half the things he shared with this woman when it came to Wendy's personal business. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you giving her ammo to come at this lady. Then the world like, yeah, oh, Wendy, she always did this, she did that. You know what I'm saying? So everybody justifying the fact that she's being, you know, I don't know. I just don't have that in me. Like, there's nothing anybody could do that could have me feeling like, yeah, she deserved that. I just
Right.
pray, that she gets somebody around her sooner than later to really take care of her and really have her best interests at heart, because it's a special place for them people that's been surrounding her. We could talk about Wendy, but at the end of the day, Wendy was getting her bag. She was doing her job. But what are you people real motives
Right.
for doing what y'all doing to this lady? Because if she not in her right mind still, like, what are y'all doing? Like, and
Right.
why nobody ain't doing
And why
nothing about
exploit
it?
her? Why exploit the fact that she's not in her right mind? Like, I mean, that's the part that's crazy. Like, give her some privacy, you know.
Right.
So, but no, they like, oh, since she like public display, she like to put people. This is where people's mindset is, and it's
That's
it's
how
it's
I'm
really
thinking.
sad.
Like, people have hidden agendas behind how they really feel about her. Because don't get me wrong, I'm not saying everything she was doing was right. But in
It
the
wasn't.
moments where you feeling like you got the whole world at the tip of your fingers, Wendy was, she was popping for a minute. You know what I'm saying? So ego and saying shit you ain't really supposed to say. So she probably hurt a lot of people on the way too, projecting her own hurt though. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I think people always seem to forget, like, hurt just don't come out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? A person just don't become bitter and hurt and hard from no reason. It's not to say that it's an excuse for it,
Right.
but there needs to be some type of grace extended, because at the end of the day, she's only one person. She's a woman. You know what I'm saying? She's dealt with a lot of things. I mean, let's just say beating addiction ain't something easy. People could talk about it, but beating an addiction is not easy. And she was doing hardcore. You feel me? So for her to be able to pull herself up out of that, but the thing about it is she just filled it with another addiction. You feel me? Which
But the
was
thing with her addiction, here's the thing about her addiction, and it's pretty sad because not only obviously, people addiction is like trying to suppress their childhood trauma or whatever. So part of her childhood trauma was being overweight and being picked on about her weight and low self-esteem, right? This girl started using the drugs to lose the weight, like as a weight loss mechanism.
a lot of
Because
women have done that though.
it was like do it. So it's like what? Like to stay, and so she was like, oh yeah, I'm good now. I don't got to worry about dieting. I don't got to worry about, nothing. We're good now. That's like,
Yeah.
that's sad. So now using that as a weight loss thing, so it's a combination of doing it. So when people go to rehab, like I was saying, when in rehab, in order to get clean, you gotta go deep into the root of what you're trying to suppress and find out what it is. So she clearly hasn't dealt with the issues of her past and the weight, the parents, doing that, the teacher. I mean, she's like this 50 something years old. How old is she? She's grown as hell. Still going back to that one teacher who yelled out her weight in front of the classroom. It was so humiliating that she remembers that. You know what I'm saying? Those like super embarrassing moments as a kid that
Absolutely. Those are the
like me,
moments
I
that
was
never
always
leave you.
I was always a new girl. My mom always like moved around. I've been to like maybe 10 elementary schools. Like it's like that many. So I was always the new girl. And not only was I the new girl, so I always, this is where like a lot of my social anxieties come from too. Part of being the new girl is like my name is Cherie, but it's spelled like Sherry. So when people first see my name, they're like, "Oh, hey, this is we got a new girl in class." So now you got everybody's attention, right? And then it's like, "This is Sherry," and it's like me. I always had a complex about that, so I've always been like confrontational my whole life. Like I'm not about to just let you call my wrong name in front of this classroom out of it. I know I'm nervous being up here in front of all of it, but my name is Cherie. Don't like no, don't do that. So now that was like a first, where the teacher already know that I'm gonna be a problem because like
I
I'm
dealt with
sitting there,
that too.
call me
I
by
did
my
deal with
name,
that.
okay? Don't call. You're not about to give me no name. Like, my name is this. So then you got, when I got older, you got people thinking that I wanted to be like fancy. You know, like my name was really Sherry, but I want to be Cherie. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, oh my gosh. So I used to be, so then that gave me another complex. So I used to be like, Ma, why didn't you just name me Sherry? You know what I'm saying? Like, that would have been so much easier. She's like, because your name is Cherie, you got an accent over your E. It's like, yo, come on now. You would have had to put that accent on my birth certificate or something. Where they get, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. So I know what it's like to, you know, have those, you know, fears that came from childhood, like, you know, that being on the spotlight. That's why still to this day, like, I used to shrink myself. Like, I just got past that shrinkage where, like, I would rather be small because me being my big self make other people uncomfortable, and I can't
Yeah.
control other people's uncomfortability. So the empathy in me, because I also I like to see people happy. So if I'm the one that's making you unhappy, let me shrink myself because I want us all to be the same size. You see what I'm saying? So then that put me in a position where I was comfortable being shrunk, and I it became a habit. As soon as I get around insecure women or a whole group of, then I'm like, oh no, I'm not gonna let them do it. I don't want them to be upset. And it's like, that's why I'm like, now listen, I'm here. I'm here. So it's pretty sad
Pretty
when
much.
you look at it.
It is, and it's sad because you don't realizing all of that stuff has affected you. So everybody remember those moments when you were a kid where you felt like that, and if there was nobody around to change that, image of yourself to encourage you to think better, or of course that's just what you're gonna grow up thinking. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all go through that. I know I had the complex. I was the same way. Like, my name is not a name that you're gonna see on no nothing. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I used to be pissed. Like, why would you name me that? Like, nobody's name is Kanita. Who the hell is that? Then
Why
I
do we
heard
do this?
people like, oh, is it Kanik, Kanik? And I'm looking
Girl.
at no, it's Kanita. Say it right. And then if you
Say it
piss me
right.
off enough that you couldn't get it right, just say Kai, goddamn it. Just say Kai.
Right.
That's why everybody say Kai. Just say Kai.
Right.
Just don't keep tearing my shit up. Like,
Right. That's how
so
I
I
became
dealt
Reed.
with
Well,
that
I didn't.
too.
I didn't do that. My parents did, but still, it was like it make it easier, Reed. Because you call me Sherry, even down to dating. If a man, like, even like if he, it's like, how do you spell your name so I can put it in my phone or whatever, and I will spell it, with REE, just so don't fucking call me Sherry because you done ruined it. If I did like you call me Sherry, it's done. You're done, son. You're done. Okay, like, because that's how deep that was rooted in me. Like, you know what I'm saying? So this is why I'm able to relate to somebody like Wendy, because it's like, it's like, wow. So, and then being special ed though, like, that's already, so you have difficulty learning.
Mm-hmm.
So you have difficulty processing information properly.
And then the sad part about it is that because diagnoses at that time when she was younger were so wrong,
Mm-hmm.
she probably even didn't need to be in special ed. It probably was just insecurity and where she grew up
But it
at. You
was
know
the
what I'm
bad
saying?
wedding.
You
It was
feel
the
me?
bad. It was the bad wedding since 12. So, like, what is that?
And that's something that's deep rooted that she probably didn't even know was in her. You know what I'm saying? The nervousness, the idea of feeling like you're not the better sister. You know what I'm saying? The idea of knowing that the people that's supposed to love you are tearing you down and making you feel less than. So you already have this image that if the people that's supposed to love me and take care of me think less of me, then when I go out into this world, I could forget anybody thinking anything else any more of me, because these are the people that's supposed to feed me the
Right.
love, feed me the
This is where I
encouragement,
first learned
feed
it.
me the confidence,
Yeah.
show me, because at the end of the day, she was a child. So when you're a child, you're taught to feel insecure. You're taught to feel like you're not good enough. You're taught to feel like you're not pretty enough. You know what I'm saying? So all
Mm-hmm.
of this stuff, she didn't even have a chance to invent herself. All she had was what people told her. And
Right.
now you got this man who gave you enough belief in yourself to think that you could, get over this addiction. So now she felt like as long as she got him by her side, she could do anything.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
why she allowed and accepted a lot of his behaviors, because it's like, listen, this my rider right here. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
Right.
ride with him till the wheels fall off, until it became too much. I think if she wasn't such a public figure, I think it wouldn't have done as much damage, because it wasn't so
Absolutely.
broadcast, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I feel bad for her. I really do. Like I really do, because if we gonna be honest, you know what I'm saying? There's so many women walking around looking through life through a whole trauma lens, and don't have any plans on trying to fix that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really have people grown as hell out here. Wendy's age, my age, your age, walking around here with these little girl complexes, and they coming out in your
Right.
adult in your life. And nobody's there to tell you, hey sis, I see that. I recognize that. You need to get some help for that. You know what I'm
You
saying?
should
Like,
check that. Right.
but it's just sad that Black women in general, we have this mean girl era, you know what I'm saying, where we just want to tear each other down, and we want to hide what we going through. And
Right.
it's kind of like, oh, well, if she going through that, then she's no better than me, you know what I'm saying, like, as
Okay.
opposed to saying, I struggle with that, you're not alone. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I went through that, you're not alone. You know what I'm saying? Because then you got all these people who swear and they got it all together. I don't even want to have a conversation with y'all.
At
Oh,
all.
because I got it together. Like, if you may have got it together in maybe in the relationship area, but I promise you lacking somewhere else. Because there's
Yeah.
no way any real human being can stand up and say, all
They got
my
it
ducks
all.
lined in a row. I don't have no problems.
Right.
I don't have no issues. Like, girl, sit the fuck down somewhere. Because what we not about to do is play that surface shit over here.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
So how
That's
dare you?
shallow,
How
shallow
dare you?
living, not going deeper. Because the deeper you go, this way you could tell people conversations, it's like that they're not doing no deep work on their own, because they stay on the surface. They stay there. So when they go deep, that's where the uncomfortability are. Like, most people like to bask in that comfort zone, because being uncomfortable is how you get to the breakthrough. That's how you get to the work. Don't nobody want to go through that, dealing with the issues that arise, or that happened in your past. Um, Doing the work, you have to actually relive those feelings. You have to relive, everything, the things that you went through in order to get past them.
Right.
Once those things start coming back up, people start getting like, oh, I don't like this. I don't, listen, this don't feel comfortable. I don't, but then they go back to the comfort zone, and then they stay in the dysfunction, the misery, whatever it is. They don't ever get the breakthrough. They post about it. You hear people, they like to post about this and this and that. It's people that's, a whole basket case that'll sit, and like, just because they don't cuss, they better than me. You know what I'm saying? They
Mm-hmm.
doing better. You be like, child, okay, whatever. I'm gonna let you, because these are the lies that people tell themselves that help them, you know, sleep better at night.
Right.
So, yeah. So it's it's very unfortunate. The what she had to go through, and it's just, it's sad, and it's
Yeah, it
sad the way
is.
people is quick to, cast judgment and stuff. So, yeah. So the infidelity, I feel like it, the childhood traumas, the special ed, the wet in the bed till you 12, the ridicule as a kid, not having friends. Now that part was crazy. Not having friends, and not even having the sister. Like, that's like, you got a best friend that live in your house, and you don't even have that. That's a lonely feeling. You're
Mm-hmm.
lonely around people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that's an additional sense of loneliness.
And now she's
Um,
back to that loneliness that she started off with in the beginning.
Now the what?
I said now she's back to that loneliness that she started off with at the beginning, because she, as she got older, she started, she had Kevin, and she had the man, she had people around her, the cast member, there's people around her, and then she had this money, so of course she had people just wanting to be her friend or
They
being
were
around her.
tolerating her.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what it was. They were tolerating her, and that's so sad. That's so sad. Um, so now, like, what, how about in what ways you think she experienced in what ways did Wendy experiences with low self-esteem and infidelity impact her overall relationship with loved ones and like her professional endeavors? Like, what do y'all think about that?
I mean, well, first you got to think about the fact that she had to hide a lot of things at first, because the first thing, she's already projecting the fact that he came into her life and became the savior for her. You know what I'm saying? So now the whole idea is you're idolizing this man who's pretty much just a human, just like you. But to be honest, when you think about it, the man that was really supposed to love her ridiculed her, which was her father. You feel me? So you don't get that you go looking for who you go looking, you don't even
Girl.
realize it, but mentally you go find that man again. You don't realize it, that you literally go find your dad. You find pieces of that man that was supposed to love you in this man. So we don't even know the type of relationship her father, her mother had. We don't
Right.
know if he had any type of infidelities. We don't even know the what made her sister not even be a unit. You know what I'm saying? That could have been something the parents had going on, because I can't imagine growing up in a household and having a sister and y'all don't have no type of connection.
The parents
Somebody
were
planted that separation in
yeah,
them,
no, the parents were
Yeah,
actually
the
turning them
mom.
against each other. Go, what
Mm-hmm.
and
was it,
that's
Camille?
fucked up.
Huh?
Go ahead.
The,
The
the,
parent was turning them against each other.
Wow.
mostly the mom. Always comparing Wendy to her sister. So now, of
Like
course,
how? Like won't you be more like your like like that's crazy.
mm-hmm.
That's
Yes,
crazy.
it is. And then of course that's gonna affect your relationship, because a person automatically, once you become, you know, intimate, or you go into a place with somebody, you're gonna share those low points and low moments, because you now feel like this is a safety net. So I can imagine the things that she shared with him about her, because he already presented himself as a safe space for her.
As the safety. Yep.
So she
You're my
probably told
hero.
him.
He's the hero.
Exactly. So she probably told him shit that she probably would have took to her grave had he never came into her life. And of course, let's not play. People know when somebody is insecure. He knew. He knew
And
that
that's what
girl
I
had
was. That was my
insecurities.
next thing to say. Like he like played on that. Knowing
Yes.
that she was so insecure, she had all these issues with the father, the mother, the sister. He really played on that.
The thing is, he played on that the entire
The whole
relationship
entire
because
relationship. And
the
then he
And
whole
that
time.
can
continued
be
to
trauma
play.
alone.
And
See,
Like,
then he
you
but you
think
gotta
somebody
see.
continued.
love you and they don't, and you find out they really, like, to think you was connected to this person, and you felt like this person saved you and loved you and was your safe space, and then you find out that whole shit was really a sham. Like, you find out that this man
Mm.
never really loved you the way you loved you. You find out you wasn't even his type. Like, do you know that shit probably crushed her whole spirit, and her spirit was already broken. You feel me? She just
Yeah.
Before
filled it
she
up
even
with
met him.
glitz and glam
Mm-hmm.
and having the money. You feel me? Distractions. And
So
then
just
And
you
then
tear
imagine,
her down like that.
like what so by her already having those self-esteem issues. So when he cheat on her, I can see her like, begging him to stay. Just please don't leave. Just please don't, what can I do to keep you? What can I mean, so and
Destroyed herself.
here's a very um transparent moment for me in my
I've
my
been
marriage
there.
because I had a very like compulsive, like he had like some kind of sex addiction, and my ex-husband was the type of man that I think he got a rise out of um the fact of possibly getting caught, because the way that he used to cheat, it was always too close. Like it would be like with the neighbor upstairs, the coworker. Like it was so wrong. Like how he have a baby by my cousin who lived in my house with us two different times. Like I got trauma for real, bro. Like I like listen. Listen, them
Baby,
folks did a
let's
number on me, a number. So listen, so now mind you, this is the man that saved me, my hero. I was 15, drug addicted, homeless. when he found me on the block. You see what I'm saying? So I felt like I owe everything to him, and I'm trying to understand what it is to be him. Let me, whatever it is, like what can I do? So let me tell you something. So I used to be very skinny. Like I wasn't nothing but skin and bones and titties. I had big boobs. That's all I had. End up having a surgery after that because this listen. But anyway, um, I didn't have no butt, no hips, no thighs, nothing. Just thick, just up and down. Um, so he used to say, oh, you need some, you got to get some thighs. Let me thicken you up. So he would wake me up like in the middle of the night while he coming out from cheating, wake me up out of a sleep that I've already been in for hours with snacks, with cupcakes, or his favorite was pound cake and ice cream. That was like supposed to be his favorite treat. And what how he presented it to me is like, this is like we're bonding. Like this was our bonding moments. Like this what I'm telling you. Like I'm trying not to get emotional because I'm still, that's why I listen. Anyway, he presented it to me as though he's trying to help me. Come on, babe, get this so you can get, so your butt can grow, so you can get some thighs and all of this. I'm talking about within a year, y'all. I went from a size, I went from a size 8, maybe 8'10", to a size 24, 26 within a year.
Damn.
Like, so the influence that he had on me and his cheating and me wanting to be what he needed me to be, so that's the part where it's like, I can't imagine, with her, like this is, so she was like, what can I do? What can I, so that's now she got the money. So she going out getting the surgery. Oh, what do he want this? He want, oh, let me change my cheekbones. Let me change my lips. Let me change my, it's like, what? She actually used to be pretty. I did
She
not
was
know that.
beautiful. Oh
I
my
did
God.
not know that she was that beautiful.
Yeah, she
I
was
was
very
like,
beautiful.
wow. She had that dimple. She had that, her hair. She was just like, I was like, she
A
she's
little Kim. I always
a
felt like
whole
that.
little
Her
Kim.
little Kim. Like, wow, they were
She's a
so
whole complete
beautiful.
different person. So
Why?
like,
But that's just the world beating you down, telling you you're not beautiful. The enemy whispering in your ear, telling you you're not good enough. And if you don't have people around you, the right people around you, to tell you that is a lie,
right.
man.
So look at, and then even in that same case, like doing that, so like I said, I had big boobs. Mind you, with his insecurities on, every time I left the house or whatever, it was always an issue, like with me cheating or whatever. Even when I had my kids, like he would think like I sat the kids down and like bent over real quick. Like be like, how could I cheat? Like, you know what I'm saying? Back then I was young, so I didn't really understand, how,
He was
it all goes, and
manipulating you to
manipulation
because
and
he
the
was doing it. So
narcissist
it,
and all of that stuff. Right. So I didn't
mhm.
understand that back then. I was a teenager when he got me. And he was so much more older than me. He was like 11, 12 years older than me. So anyway, um so he was jealous and constantly jealous, and I constantly had to fight and argue and black eyes here and all of this stuff. Well, I actually went and got surgery on my and had a breast reduction so I can appease him, so I don't got to go through that no more. You know what I'm saying? So I
Wow.
don't have to like deal with that. I had 13 pounds taken off of my boobs in 2000. And it was like, yeah, what is going on? So it was like, you know, I did that, and even now looking back, because what I did is I traded in, big ass boobs for small boobs with scars and stuff. Like even now in my 40s, I look back like, why did I do that? Like, so I'd be like, did I have low self esteem? Like, did he beat me down so much to where I felt like this was the only answer? You know what I mean? Like, this is the only way for me to go and alter my body. So now I'm looking at like Wendy Williams, who got way more money than me because I was on, food stamps and shit like that. So I had to go and go to what you call it, like physical therapy, to get them to say that I need the surgery from my back. You know what I mean? I had to go through the whole rigmarole to get it approved by state medical. The state paid for my surgery type of thing. So I'm just like, wow, these are celebrities now. Like she had the money and the means to keep going and changing herself. I did this with no money. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I just relate to her story in so many ways. And I mean, I could easily sit back and not want to, like, if I haven't gone and dealt with my own issues, I could easily sit back and hide my shit and like, look at her, look at, oh, she did all of this. And, you know, clearly, because I got the shit, the same things that's going on. But as long as she's the one you know, she's the one on public display, not me. So I can keep the attention off of me by focusing on her.
It's a scary thing to be mentally broken and relying on a man that don't know how to control his own emotions and his penis. It's a scary
Mm,
place to be here. I didn't
girl.
alter my body, but mentally I drowned myself to stay connected to somebody who I just, I didn't at that time, like I said, we all can relate to her. Like I stayed knowing I was uncomfortable. I
Right.
stayed when I
Same.
knew I should have hauled ass.
Ran for the border. I'm
But
telling you.
because the mind's process that I was in at the time, here it is. The baby gone, done passed away now. So now I'm like,
Mm.
who's gonna want to deal with me? Who's gonna want that type of pain? Who's gonna want to pick that type of spirit up? So I stayed because I felt like nobody else was gonna understand. It was like needing somebody who you really shouldn't have needed. Like it's like I needed him, but I also didn't want it. I hated him too. You know what I'm saying? It was like,
And hated
but
that you
he
needed him, and hated that you had to rely on him, and that was scared to
because I
break
was
free from him.
destroyed.
Child.
Who was I felt like if don't nobody in the world understand what I'm going through, he would know because he shared the same pain, but he
Right.
didn't. You feel me? It was just me sitting in it. And then I realized after I got out of that really it was me who was there for me. He really didn't. It was me. You know what I'm
He was
saying?
just
But
there.
I stayed out of fear of thinking that if somebody else came into my life, they would reject me once they realized all the trauma that I had went
Mm.
through. I didn't think nobody would be able to suffice that. They wouldn't be strong enough to love
I'm
me
telling
enough
you.
to see that. So I said, I'm just gonna stay. But only thing I did was give him time to find who he really wanted and needed. Because, well, I ain't gonna say really wanted, but by that time, after that, I was really broken. I was just a broken person. I was upset with the world. I was mad at the world. I went and got pregnant after all of that. So now you're grieving a child, you're pregnant with a child, and it's by the same man that pretty much destroyed you in the process
In the
of this
first
shit.
place.
You feel
Right.
me? Like I blamed him so long for that baby's death because it was like had you not been stressing me out with the shit you was doing, he would be here.
He would
And then
still
I
be
was
here. Right.
angry with God because it was like, well, why did he die? He was the
Right.
one who was destroying us. He was the one who wasn't right. Why
Right.
didn't you take him? Like I literally said that to him. Today now I could say I'm not that way. But at that time, the broken spirit in me, I was like, it should have been you. Why did my baby go?
Mm.
You should have been the one that died, nigga. You the one was out here fucking up and doing all this crazy shit. But my innocent, beautiful baby is gone.
Right.
And you get to pick up the pieces and go fall into who you've been lying and cheating with and whatever. And I was humiliated. I was so embarrassed that this woman was able to get a front row seat at
Into your
my
trauma.
wedding. And he
Right.
didn't care. Like he just
Yeah.
did not care. And it was like, are you kidding me? And
Right.
I think what really destroyed me was the kicker was when she wanted to speak to me the day my son died. Like that's the shit that really was like, are you freaking kidding me? Like nobody
It's the.
didn't even know yet. How do you know my baby is gone? He
Mm.
told her. You
Because
feel
he
me?
told
So
her.
it's like, are you kidding? I felt like the most lowest piece of rag on the earth. So when I looked at Wendy, I just hid my shit better. I just hid my shit better. I ain't even gonna hold you. Like I hid it like a G because it was like, ain't no fucking body else getting a front row seat of seeing me feel small. So guess
Okay.
what? From this point on, I will take every motherfucking L private before I allow anybody else. And that's why, when people say to me, oh, you mean to tell me so if he step out or he do this, you mean you leaving? Yes, that is the deal breaker. If I find out about another woman and then I know I'm out. And it's not because I don't love you, and it ain't because I think I'm strong, and it ain't because I don't care, because I have seen this story. I've dealt it, I've played in it, I was the character. And before I allow myself to believe that you just automatically just gonna leave this woman alone for me, y'all can go head on, sis. I'm gonna pick up my feelings and go. Pick her. You ain't even gotta worry about
Choose
me.
her.
And it ain't got nothing to do with me being strong, but it has everything to do with I almost lost myself trying
Right.
to hold on to somebody who
Woo.
didn't give a fuck
Yeah.
about where I was at mentally,
Mm.
physically, or emotionally. And at the time, why would the woman care about what I'm going through? She ain't got no loyalty to me. You feel me?
Why would she?
Why would she? So for
Mm-mm.
me, the best thing, I tell anybody that the best thing he could have ever did for me, the realest thing he could have ever did was walk away and be with her. Because I'm the type of person, as much as I knew he wasn't good for me no more, as much as toxic as I knew that relationship was, because I was still dealing with the whole abandonment and the whole I'm not gonna let nobody win, and
Right.
the whole I just hold on to people to the point where they break me. That was like my thing. I didn't give up on nobody. As long as I stayed down, I felt like if I just keep loving him, and if I just keep, he'll do better. But I didn't realize, you can't give somebody more of what they don't even appreciate now. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And I have no ill will sources, man, either, because once I was able to get myself out of that situation and had time to see myself, I was able to give him grace, because
Right.
he was a broken person. You know what
There
I'm
you
saying?
go.
He was a
When you
broken
unpack
man.
it, you be like, oh yeah,
How could he give me what he didn't even have for himself? You
There
feel
you
Right.
me?
go.
He
Yeah.
couldn't pour into me when he never poured into himself. So we
And
was
then
just
nobody
trauma
had probably
bonding.
ever poured into him either. So yeah,
He had his own
hurt people
demons
hurt
and his
people.
own stuff that he was dealing with. And, you know, I just thank God that I was able to, rise above that. I just thank God that I was able to not have the hatred in my heart that when I tell you, Lord knows, I hated them. Like, I
Right.
hated them. And it wasn't because he chose her or anything like that. It was the mere fact of that I couldn't get past the fact that I had this baby and he was here and now he's gone. And I was due to the fact because I wasn't used to somebody handling me the way he was handling me when I was pregnant and I was going through shit. So
Mm.
here it is. I'm in the hospital, the baby in the NICU. He out of town seeing his kid that's well, his kid that's alive, his kid that's not fighting for his life. And yeah, I'm in the
Mm.
hospital. I felt like trash. Like my brothers looking at me like, what are you doing? Why are you killing yourself for this man? Like they
Right.
hated him. They
Right.
hated him for what he was doing. And I think they couldn't understand why I
Right.
allowed myself. But at the time, it was just like I was so hurt and I was so broken that I was just willing to stay in that mess, knowing that it was tearing me apart. Like I was having anxiety attacks, girl. I was having panic attacks. He didn't even know. He didn't even know. Like the shit was crazy. Like
I believe it.
trips to the clinic and shit. Because mind you, my body had not even properly healed yet. So I wasn't able
Right.
to go out there and have sex with anybody. You sending me to the clinic, nigga? Really? Like,
Mm.
girl, bye. That's why I say, oh, I can relate being at your lowest point and still trying to hold on to somebody and trying to love somebody that didn't even love themselves at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So, as a woman, I always frown upon other women that try to look down and, oh, because it could never be me. And, oh, because you did this. Oh, because you're stupid. Like, I don't even talk like that to women on some real shit. Like,
Right.
I don't even think that way about a woman. Like, at the end of the day, it's never surprising to me, honestly. And that's probably something that I still got to work on because I still be shocked. Like, when I hear shit like what we talking about, even with Wendy, hearing your story, Reed, just hearing shit, I'll be like, damn, yo. Somebody did that to you?
Yeah, it's
Why?
real.
Like that shit scares me sometimes when I think about it. But you know, the good
So
thing about it is
it's
God
hard
gives us
coming out on the other
superpowers.
side. So that's why it's like, for people to be quick to point fingers, it's like,
Nah.
man, like you gotta give the person grace. Like, I had so many people, see, even like during my healing journey, see, like I said, you have to relive that stuff in order. You gotta dig it
Ooh.
back up and pull it back up and go through it like you was going through it back then. You it's like you're back in that situation in order to heal from it. That's the thing that people run from. So guess what? So while I was in my healing stage and going through this, it was coming out in other ways. So guess what? Well, people, oh, she toxic. Oh, she this and that. And it was like, and it was people that was the closest to me. And I was talking about mental health online. I was talking, you got to think, I've been talking about mental health online for almost 10 years. I had so many people that backed away from me because talking about, oh, I'm crazy. Oh, look at, oh, she because I'm calling, I wrote my book. I told people how to, and I'm still, but now everybody talking about, oh, healing, this, that, and the other. And it's like, oh, really? Now it's like it's cool to do it. But when I was doing it, and I wasn't just talking about it, I was actually walking the walk and living it and pulling up and doing the inner work that you're supposed to do. And it was coming out in different ways. I was, bugging out sometimes because it was like I was going through the shit right then.
Because it
So
wasn't
I
a
just,
beautiful thing. Healing
yeah.
hurts.
So
Healing
that's why
hurts.
it's like I'm at this point in my life, like the people that stay distant from me at those, dark times while I was even trying to go and help it, I'm like, they can't even come back in my life. I don't even, the people that it'd be like, oh no, you had your chance, you had your opportunity. Like, I don't want you over here no more. Now that the grass is green and I'm glowing. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, you don't get
What
to
Cat
go
Williams said? You don't get to dictate how I tell my story about how you treated me. And if you don't like what I said about you, then maybe you should have treated me better when you had the opportunity to. But
when
you
you
ain't gonna
had the
dictate my
opportunity.
story. You ain't gonna dictate my story. I'm gonna tell her how I tell it. Because you ain't the only one that's hurt. Shit, I had to go through it too.
I had to
So
go through it too.
I'm
Right.
just willing to shed it now. I'm willing to reveal my truth. While you want to stand over there and make it seem you want to throw your rock and hide your hand. No. I'm about to just blow this whole shit up so I can get away from it all.
Right.
I'm taking the whole shit down with me. Why? This is my story, and you're
This
not
is
going to tell me how I'm going to tell it. So if your ass is being painted as the villain in my story, I don't give a damn what you feel about it. Your ass was the villain to me, and you're
there
going
you
to be a
go.
villain. And if you didn't want that, then hey, it's
Right.
above me now.
It's above me now.
It's
Shut up. So,
above me now.
in the documentary prompt viewers to reflect on their own personal experiences with relationship trauma and mental health. Um, how can the Wendy Williams story encourage conversations about seeking help and healing from the things that we can't talk about? Like back when I was hit, it was like we need to heal from things that we can't even discuss. We can't even talk, we comfortably about the stuff that we going through. I remember just how I was talking about how my, he had a baby by my cousin and daughter. I couldn't even get that conversation out without bawling. You know what I'm saying? So even looking back, just even while I was telling that story, I was like, wow, I didn't, I was like, okay, I had to take deep breaths, but even I was never able to control it like that because it was so hot. It was so raw and it was so hurtful. But that's where now I can look back over my healing journey and like, wow, look at how far I've come, baby. And it only gets greater later. You know what I'm saying? So,
Well,
yeah. So how can that encourage the conversation about seeking help and healing? What you think, Camille?
I don't really have the answer for that.
I think what we're doing now, having these uncomfortable conversations, being able to be that person to be open, you know what I'm saying? Being able to be vulnerable enough to tell your story, because when once somebody take the torch, other people follow. You know what I'm saying? It's like it needs to be conversations that just needs to be had. These are the conversations that need to be had. What we were taught just needs to be thrown out the fucking window, because the problem with a lot of us is that we feel like what Big Ma and Papa and them told us back when we was younger, that now that shit's supposed to suffice for us now, and it doesn't, because we don't live in the same world that they live in.
Mm-hmm.
The same laws don't apply. You know what I'm saying? women didn't have as much rights and able to speak out about certain things now. There was no label for mental health. There was no label for bipolar. There was no label for, going through what we go through when we have a baby and we're depressed, and
The
there was no
postpartum and
label
all
for
that.
these things.
Yeah. They
And if
don't
you
even
take
they were
even
there's so many grown autistic people that were undiagnosed where you look at it, you
Mm.
like, that's autism. And they're grown, and it's like they didn't have the tests and stuff back then to kind of, to gauge that. So that's really unfortunate.
it
It's like,
is.
wow.
It starts
So
off young. Like, the real thing about it, the one thing that I realized with most people, it started off somewhere young in your life where either somebody disappointed you,
mhm.
let you down, abandoned you, never paid attention to you, or just didn't put any love into you. And it's unfortunate that most people really believe that, oh, what that happened to you was when you was a child. You just need to get over it and you just need to let it go.
Or
And it's
pray
not
about it.
about
Or pray about it, child.
and it's not about holding on to it. It literally has held on to you. You
right.
don't want to have those emotions. You don't even want to associate with that shit. But
Yeah.
that's the type of stuff that holds on to you.
Mhm.
Childhood disappointment,
By
neglect.
not addressing it though, by not addressing it and keep tucking it on the rug, like that's, I mean, it got to come out some way. You might as well just deal with it once and for all and be done with it and let
And
that shit
then
be behind you.
you
you
got to
know
think about the people who've never had the opportunity to even grasp that they are depressed. Like, you
that's what
have
I'm
people
saying.
walking around here just thinking they just ready to pop off all the time. No, something is
I
wrong.
thought I was angry. I thought I was, yeah, I did too. Like, I didn't know. I
I
didn't
thought
know.
something was wrong with me too.
Yeah,
Oh,
so that's
prior
why I'm
before
doing what I'm
this.
doing now, just to normalize the conversation, if nothing else. To let
Right.
people know, like, okay, let me show you my flaws. Let me show you the things that I've overcome, that I've
So
come.
so do you? Sorry. Do you think that's what Wendy was doing a lot? Like when she was being transparent with her audience and
Absolutely.
and
Yeah,
talking to them,
she was
and
ready to heal. She was
and
ready
she,
to. She was tired of holding it in. She
yeah.
realized that all that holding it in have affected her health and her overall well-being. And once you get to that age, I'm gonna tell you right now, I got a lot of older clients that hire me to coach them. I'm talking
Mhm.
about the women that's over 50. Oh baby, they don't play. They don't play. They come in, they be like, listen, when I give them their assignments, they give them their thing each week. They log in and they come, they listen, this is what I did. They don't play about their healing because they're at like their last, this is it. So it's like, shit, I done already spent all these years playing in my own face. In my own
Yeah.
face. And where did it get me? It got me nowhere. So I might as well take a chance on me. I choose me. At this point, I've been being everything that everybody need me to be. Now I just need to give it to me. I just need to give it to me.
Yes, they come
Once
for
I did
me.
that, I was like, shit.
And
That's
that's the
why I want to
thing.
teach. That's why I want to teach everybody. Like I want to help them do it because I didn't even know that this piece was even possible. You know how you see I used to get angry. This is how I knew that I was so bitter and miserable. I used to see the ladies in the grocery store with their little carriage smiling and shit. For no reason. They just in the grocery store picking strawberries. Like that used to drive me crazy. Like because I'm like, why? How are you so happy? Like what? You just picking a strawberry? They pruning their the avocados to see if they ripe or whatever. They're like, and they just life is great. I was like, yo, like I would want to go up to them and like punch them. Like, girl, you need to. So now I now know how that feels because like I'm on the other side of it now. So now I'm the one in the grocery store just spinning and popping. I'm like, this is what that feel like. I had to heal things that was holding me, keeping me in a bondage, keeping me bitter and angry and mad at other people, jealousy, not necessarily jealousy, but like envy. Like I was envious of these people that were happy like that, because I
Mhm.
couldn't be happy. So it was just it's pretty cool to see both sides of the coin now. And now I'm like, as soon as I got this piece, I want to show everybody else. So before we go, I wanna make sure I wanna find out, what do you guys hope that viewers take away from this Wendy Williams documentary in terms of like understanding the complexities of low self-esteem, how it correlates to the unresolved trauma, and infidelity, all of that stuff. Like how like how do you want them to understand the complexities and the importance of seeking help with having all of this stuff? Like once you go through all of that, like how do you want to show them how important it is to just go seek help and to understanding that something might be wrong?
One thing I would say, get around the right people, because that's
Mm-hmm.
so important. Having the right type of energy and the right tribe and circle around you means so much. Like, you know, we emphasize the day ones and the A1s, and that's my homie and da 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 da. But at the end of the day, we got to get to a place where you have to start paying attention to those people that you're around. Pay attention to how these people make you feel. Pay attention to when you're telling these people about your pain. Pay attention to how you're telling these people about your joy. You know what I'm saying? Are they really interested in it, or are they benefiting from you? Do they really care about you, or they just care about what you can provide for them? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we think that we're supposed to be loyal to these people that we knew forever or been around forever. And the whole time, sometimes the very people that we be in the presence of every day be our competitors, and we don't even know it,
Uh,
because you don't even know these people are competing with you in areas you never even competed with them for. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not willing to accept who they are.
And
And my biggest thing is, just don't be afraid to address the things that you're scared of, because fear is the thing that captivates you and holds you from getting to a place where you, when you're scared, it just makes you have a whole bunch of limitless beliefs that you
mhm.
put on yourself, and you can't, not even people put on you, you
You
put
put
on
on yourself,
yourself,
right?
because you've never really had the opportunity to grow from that pain. You know what I'm saying? You got to start, you know what I'm saying? And it starts at home. You know what I'm saying? That's why I have an open dialogue when it comes to my kids. Like, talk, tell me. There's nothing I don't make comfortable for my kids to be able to come and tell me.
Right.
I do not care what it is. I've always had a rule with my son. Like, I don't care where you are, what you're doing. If you are in trouble, call me.
Call
I
me.
don't care, because that is where it starts. Being able to voice your feelings and your emotions without feeling like it's disrespect. You know, there's been so many times when you're a kid, you can remember you tried to voice your opinion how you felt to your parents, and they already looked at it like it was disrespect, because that's what they were taught. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or
That's their
you don't
belief
say this,
system.
you don't say that, or you don't go out of the home and talk about that. That stays in the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were bamboozled really a little bit when you think about it as
Well,
kids.
they
You know
didn't
what I'm
have the
saying?
tools that we have now. They didn't
And
have the
they
tools,
didn't.
and they were winging it.
And they didn't have it either. You know, so my biggest thing, what I tell people to take from that is that, childhood trauma is real. And you could fake it and act like none of that shit matters to you if you want. But I promise you, it is
Wait, your phone cut off. Yeah, your speaker thing cut off. But
but like she was saying, like having people around you, like it's also important not to have yes people around you. You know, you gotta surround yourself with people who's gonna like pull the mirror up at you
and tell you the truth.
and tell you the truth and tell you, listen, this seems to be a problem. Maybe you should go get some help, or
Right.
maybe we can go get some help together, or
Mhm.
you're not alone, and just having that no yes people around you is like maybe what they can get from this.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and I totally agree. I would just add that in doing anything, it's the uncomfortability that actually gets the results. Like as long as you're comfortable, you're comfortable. Nothing is happening, so you
Mm-hmm.
have to really like go against yourself and get in that, that
Uncomfortable state.
uncomfortable space, and that's where
Mm-hmm.
the real healing come from. And
Right.
there's a actual science called the power the pain and pleasure principle. And what it means is like, the situation that you're in right now, you may look at that as like, the pain.
Mm-hmm.
I need to change. I need to, get better or whatever. So the better is the pleasure, right? So
Right.
then when you make that decision, like, you know what, I'm ready to cross over. I'm ready to actually choose me and do the work and make the necessary changes that I need to make so I can have a better quality of life. So once you start on that path, and then let's just say it's a bridge, and let's just say it's like foggy, you know what I'm saying? So once you get
Mhm.
halfway through that bridge, when you're looking back, you can't even see where you started from. And then you looking forward, you don't even know where you're going. This is the unknown. So now what happens is our fight and flight, transmitters kick in, and our brain is designed to protect us. So your
Mhm.
protection is the comfort zone, right? So
Right.
your brain is automatically going to trick you into now thinking that the pleasure is back where you came from, the pain. So
Mhm.
you're going to now go back to the pain because that's the comfortability. So
Right.
this is where I tell people, I have an exercise in my program. It's called the big why. So
Mhm.
whenever you're making substantial changes in your life, for whatever reason, your why has to be big enough. You have to know your reason for wanting to change. So like let's just say, like when people amputate their leg, you ever see those Special Olympics where the
Mhm.
people don't
Mhm.
even have legs or don't even have, and they are determined to do whatever they're doing. You know why? Because they have a why. Their
Mhm.
why is bigger than whatever the issue, whatever was holding them back. They're like, yo, I don't have no more legs no more. I gotta do like this. You know what I'm saying? Like my why,
Right.
I gotta go and win this race because I don't got no legs. Now I gotta prove to myself and prove to my family that I can still win this race. That's a why. That's a why that's big enough. So what I will say is, when you're ready to make significant and substantial change, that'll last, not just temporary, because people like to go and trickle, and then they like, and then they're back, and then it's there, nothing ever changed.
Right.
So to make lasting and permanent change, your why has to be big enough. So find that why, find whatever it is that will be the pillar that will allow you to pull yourself up, no matter how bad you want to give up, no matter how hard the road is, no matter how afraid you are. Do it afraid. One thing I will also will say, it's going to be scary. Like anybody
Mhm.
that know me and know
Yes.
my journey, and my journey and been watching me for, let's just say, even a year, you can literally see my progression in a year. I have social anxiety. So even doing this, what I do, it's like this, I could not do this a year ago. Like I would, you know, so it's like my why. You know why? My brother isn't here no more. Like I have a purpose to now show people that you can live a better life. You can have a better quality of life if you're willing to get uncomfortable, keep fighting the fight, keep going on the road and doing it every day of your life. You have to look forward. Your mind have to be mentally in the place of your destination way before your life does. So
Mhm.
I just wanted to leave that. Kai, did you have something else to say before we go? Because I know you.
And understand that, the one thing that I just want to stress that, give yourself grace. Healing, people think it's just something you go get and you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Once you start your healing journey, you need to understand that healing is not some linear thing that you're just going to go through and it's going to be over. It is the start of layers, constantly
Mhm.
peeling back, and peeling back. And just don't get to a point where you start to feel frustrated because you have a setback, because setbacks is just opportunities to come back harder. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So it's like, don't beat yourself up because you've had a bad day or if you had a bad week. That's the thing
Mm-hmm.
about healing. Understanding that it's not just, oh, I'm healing and incense and crystals and everything is fine. No, that shit literally strips you of everything that
Everything.
you believed in. It strips you of all of that shit.
Mhm.
So just get that out the way. I mean,
And
the
not be
best way I
feared.
can think of healing is, think about a cesarean cut. It's from the inside. It heals from the inside. So don't think like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, because I'm still hurting or I'm still broken that I'm not healing. I had to learn that. Reed, we go through it. We talk. And the one thing that, Reed is always telling me, like, listen, celebrate the
Right.
small
The
growth.
small
Celebrate that. Give
victories.
yourself grace. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean when I say having somebody there to be able to pull you back and say, no, you all right. You right where you at. You feel me? And that's the most important thing. and understanding when you have to separate yourself from certain people.
And your
You
loved ones.
cannot continue to sacrifice yourself for people that you normally would when you're starting to heal, because it will break you down every single time.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot feel bad about loving yourself. You cannot feel bad about wanting safety and peace. And sometimes that shit means letting go somebody that you dealt with for forever and you thought you were supposed to take that ride with them. And anybody that make you feel bad about doing something that's to better you, they never was for you anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really an isolation stage. It's an isolation period, and it stinks. It sucks. You feel bad. You feel lonely. But at the end of the day, when you get to a place where you start to see your small steps, it's like you'll be like, shit, it's boring, but I take this any day
It's
over what I
worth
was
it.
doing.
It's
Mm-hmm.
worth it. I'm gonna keep going.
Yep.
Baby, it's boring,
So
but baby, it's peaceful.
It's
Okay?
that part.
peaceful.
Listen, I'd
No,
rather
that's
have boring
real.
and peaceful than lit
Yeah.
and miserable.
Yeah.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, that's what's up. So, thank you guys for tuning in.
Yes. Thanks for
Oh,
having
what happened
us.
to
This
this?
was
Thanks for
very
Yeah.
having us.
insightful.
Thanks for, I know, right? It was like, and being able to talk about something that's like, pretty relatable and that's going on in the public. It's one thing to like, oh, okay, let me talk about my healing journey and my, what's going on with me, but this is a public figure. And to doing that. So I just thought it was a good idea. Camille brought this to my attention about the Wendy Williams thing. And then once I started, going deeper into it, it was like, whoa, okay, yeah, I'm in. I'm in. I want to talk about it. I'm in.
Yeah.
So thank you guys. So for the viewers, please make sure that you like and subscribe, you know, add us as a friend, do all the things that you need to do so you can catch um these lives more often. The content, we got more content coming your way. Just stay down, okay? Because this just the beginning, all right? No,
Right.
but thank you guys, really, really, truly from my heart. And we got more in store for you guys. I hope you guys have a great night and happy Thursday. Take care.
Yes.
Good
Good night,
night.
Good
everybody.
night.